Welcome to today's event where we have the pleasure to present Omnicar. Joining us for the company to help us through the presentation, we have Claus T. Hansen, Chairman of the Board, and CEO Mikkel Christensen. So they will help us through it. The topic for today is, of course, the financial results for the full year 2021, but maybe more the achievements under the surface of the numbers. And of course, going into a game-changing year where you are really going into new areas, maybe also that will be a large topic, looking at what has been the preparation for this online e-car sales. As always, do not hesitate to ask questions down in the box down below. We will run through the presentation. If the question fits, I will ask it through the presentation, or else no worry, I will collect all the questions and we will get through them in the end of the presentation. But for now, Claus, I think I will hand the presentation over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, and thank you to all of you who are joining us today. As Michael said, I will not be putting a lot of emphasis on the actual numbers, more on what we have achieved in 2021. And then Mikkel, he will take over and dig more into what our 2022 plans will be and how we will achieve them. But as you can see from this slide, we had a fantastic growth in 2021. Our growth was 65% compared to 2020, and we are very happy with this number. The numbers are in line with what we have informed the market. In fact, we actually overachieved, as most of you know, in December. We have had a lot of investments, and I will spend a little time on explaining to you what those investments have resulted in the following slides, which I will address now. We began this new adventure, a new business line, in end of 2020. The first few months was test months, and then we had a full operating year in 2021. And through that year, we managed to be the best rated workshop in Denmark. And I have said that a few times, but I think it's important to understand that getting the highest customer rating is not easy. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of IT. It requires a lot of customer focus, and I think having achieved that proves that this concept is really, really strong. We have serviced above 4,500 cars. That's a lot of cars. Getting out to so many car owners with such a small marketing budget is actually quite impressive. Normally, when you start up a new business like Nemlig or Volt or other players who have engaged in convenience-based services, they have spent millions of kroner in marketing, and we have actually achieved this with a very, very small number, and I just want to put emphasis on that. We have launched 8 service vans last year. We've fitted it out. We have designed them. We have found out what would be the best practice of working from a service van. And with 8 vans being launched last year, it's actually also quite impressive. Then we have launched a very advanced customer relations management system. Not easy again. We know that IT would be will fuel our growth. So without having a very, very, very comprehensive CRM system that can secure returning customers and secure a high level of customer service, we will never meet our future goals. And then we have invested in an extremely comprehensive IT system with geo-planning, with automated, tailored quotation to our customers and to our car owners again. That is actually another area where we have invested a lot of focus and money. And again, look at 30% returning customers. That is actually quite impressive, considering that we have only been working for such a short time. especially because you have to consider that cars nowadays only need service 1 or 2 times a year. But already now we have 30% returning customers, and that is another proof that the high customer satisfaction, IT systems and CRM systems is important to succeed with this. Then we have another important milestone is that we have raised the average basket size with 38%. And having this high basket size, again, is a huge contributor to our revenue. And every time we can increase the basket size with just a few percent, it will actually be reflected in our revenue. So that is another area that we have put a lot of focus on. And then we have Mikkel here that we were fortunate enough to employ last year. Is another proof that we can attract senior level people into our organization, and we can focus on scaling the business. So that is another proof. And then finally, what has been, and most of you who know me know that what we say is what we do. And last year in January, I told the market that our rolling revenue in December would be 25 million. And I said also that we will not stop before we have reached that number. And we actually exceeded that number. So what is important for us, and what I really want to emphasize today, is that what you will hear from Mikkel now is not something that we have sort of found out yesterday that we want to say. It's something that we have really, really analyzed. We have used our track record from last year. So we want to deliver on our promises. And what we say is what we're going to do. And we really, really want to use our previous track records as a solid proof that we actually take this extremely serious. So all this just to make you understand that it's not only a question of numbers, but we need all this that I've gone through now, really, really to accelerate this business into a complete new level. So with these words, I would like to pass it over to Mikkel.
Thank you, Claus. So it's very clear to hear that a lot of initiatives have happened under the surface during 2020-21. We have built up the most ambitious platform in order for steering our growth going forward, and that's also why we now can start to push the speeder and accelerate our expansion. Today we are actually launching our first service vans in Jylland, where we are in place from Aarhus and in the whole eastern way down to Haderslev. So we have now a market where we are servicing full Sjælland, but also the main part of Jylland, where the population is biggest of vehicles. This is of course only a start, and as we also have been informing earlier, this will continue during the year. We will put more vehicles out in the already existing areas, but also build on, so we will be in all big cities by doing this year. What you see here in the left side of the circle is basically what you will know for today. We have our mobile service solution with the highest customer satisfaction in the industry. We have already shown a very high growth, and we will continue doing so based on this tech platform, which have been described also. Putting the customer in the circle of what we do, we are today feeling the left part being servicing of your vehicle when you have bought a vehicle. But what we have seen is that we are in a market where a lot also is happening when you are investigating for buying a new car, and when you want to shift this existing car out with a new car. And we believe that we can take the knowledge and approach we have from our service business being best in class on online experience, being best in class on marketing, to also fit to the traditional selling and buying of cars. And that's why we have announced that we will go into selling used cars, and we will do that by focusing on the green cars being on the platform. We will create a platform where we are showing vehicles which we have sourced ourselves from our network and partners. We will put them in our prep center steered by the existing service business. Then we will put them into our photo shoot, where we will have some very, very good pictures of the car, display them at our platform, and then support the customers on which car they should buy. Not only do we sell the car, we also sell all the add-ons around them, meaning financing, meaning insurance, meaning charging infrastructure, including giving them the right recommendation on which one to take based on their needs. Of course, we will also sell them, including a service agreement with our existing business, being the service business we're having today. We are in the process where we are having a platform today, and we're basically doing the final adjustments. So we are ready to launch it by end of this month, where you as a customer will have the possibility to go in, find the car which suits you the best, put it in the basket, having it delivered at your front door with 14 days free return possibility. So we have everything in place. We have the partnerships in place. We have starting to source the cars, which of course will be in place at the beginning, and then this is what will continue throughout the year in order to get volume into the online sales portal. So you could say that the service business and the sales business is can run separately, but as we see it, the full strengths come when we are combining these two together and creating the ecosystem of having both service and sales within the same roof. It's a thing that we see more and more is starting to buy vehicles online. We see it especially with new vehicles with the manufacturers coming and only selling in online approaches, but we're also seeing it on used cars, especially outside of Denmark, that this is a market in full growth. We believe that we have our unique selling point by having the two businesses together, so we can prepare the car, we can sell it, we can come out delivering it, and we can at the same time offering by the one delivering it the service contract to our service business. If there's a need for a warranty or then we will of course come out with our infrastructure being the Omnicar service business. So looking at the market, what is the potential we are looking at? If we focus on car service business, we are seeing that we have a full market potential of 15 billion Danish kroner in Denmark. We believe that it's possible by 2024 to take 1.2% of that market, meaning a turnover of 180 million. Corresponding to having a fleet of 75 vans on the market. On the used car sales, we're looking in at a total market of 66 billion Danish krone, and if we can sell 10,000 vehicles during 2024, which is our ambition, it will correspond to a market share of 4%. So to sum it up, we are having the service business being more. We are now on both the eastern part of Denmark and the western, and we will follow this expansion throughout the coming month. We're having 30% returning customer, as Claus mentioned, but what I also believe is important to mention on this milestone is that this should be seen as the total number of customer we are getting in. And because we are having this growth rate and we are putting so many new customers in our business every month and day, the returning customer will of course stand for a smaller share in the total amount. So therefore, I also is actually very satisfied of having 30%, and I'm sure that this will come up quite a lot over time. We started having the industry highest score, and this we have today already still, and we will of course continuing protecting this and having this going forward. And this is what we can, let's say, do of a differentiating as we are coming out, and we can give the unique experience by talking to the customer directly by our experienced and trained mechanics. Good. For the sales business, I already mentioned that we will do it in an online platform. We will do it with 14 days return policy, and we will do it with a full check from our mechanic team and offering it with all these separate revenue streams, which will be in total what our business will be about, selling the vehicle, including the service contract to our existing service business and all the other products laying around of the vehicle. Good.
Yeah, just to give you an overview of our performance going forward. Last year, as you know, we had a target of 25 million Swedish krona in rolling revenue. End of 2022 in our service business, our target is 58 million Swedish krona in rolling revenue. We expect to have serviced more than 13,000 cars end of this year, and we expect that our returning customer rate would be 45%. And of course, we will not compromise customer satisfaction rate. We want to have the highest rate in the industry as one of our most competitive strengths. When it comes to cars, I know that a lot of you have interest in what would actually be the actual revenue number, and we will during March come out with a more accurate revenue number compared to the number we have already announced. But in terms of numbers of cars sold, our budget is 570 cars sold here in 2022. And then I encourage you to do the math yourself. We have already purchased in the range of 40 cars to our stock, and those will be delivered throughout the year as well. In 18 months from now, we expect to have 2,000 cars sold. And more important is that we already this year expect to bundle our services into every car sales. And every time we sell 10 cars, we expect that 6 of them are being bundled with all our services. And that is, of course, important because it attaches the customer to our business and it increases our profit. And we have a lot of services that we can bundle in, as we have said before. So we also see this as a strong competitive edge compared to our competitors, because we take responsibility for 100% of the needs attached to a car ownership. So these are the numbers, and as I said before, this is not what we're going to achieve. As I said last year, we will reach 25 million Swedish krona, and now we are saying this is beginning of 2022, and when we exit 2022, this will be the numbers that we will be reaching. And again, what is important to understand is that creating this kind of business, an online convenience-based business with car services, the major discipline needed here is sales skills, it's marketing skills, and it's IT skills. And those skills have been the base of our success for the service business. It's sales business, marketing, and IT skills. And we are very, very convinced that those skills will also be the skills needed to succeed with our online car business. So let these be the final words, and then I think we could take some questions, Michael.
Perfect. And I have a question, then we go to those ones, because when I saw you stretching out through Jutland and everything, I was thinking at some point in time you said we will create this strong base out in northern part of with spare parts and and workmanship. So you have a strong base, but stretching out over Jutland, I'm thinking about spare parts. I'm thinking about do we need more knowledge to locally marketing? So are you stretching out your profit margins by going more into the country, or can you actually operate with around the same margins as you are expanding through maybe a more broader part of Denmark?
This is basically the beauty of the platform we have created during 2021. When we are putting a new van in the market, it basically doesn't matter if it's driving around in Copenhagen or if it's driving around in Aarhus. It's steered by the same platform and by the same back office located at one place. They're not having a physically contact to the vans and to the mechanics. So therefore it's possible to do exactly one-to-one as we're doing it in Copenhagen.
Perfect. And then there's a question I think you've been asked a couple of times, Claus. How do you expect to find the next part? You are now buying cars and putting in stock yourself. So there's a huge capital outflow to start this business. So any thoughts about financing this next part of the business?
Yes, I've said that before, that a small part will be financed by equity and a large part will be financed by bank facility.
So banks are willing to borrow into to you being more physical assets now, namely the cars being on your balance sheet.
Yes.
Perfect. And then there's a question.
I just have to say one thing, Michael. There's also other parties than banks where you can get credit today. So just to be specific on that. Yeah.
I know I was in the old world where banks. Is there any timeline for break even on the OCS business? I know you are. We will always like to see some kind of break even. I know you're still in the growth phase, and I know maybe your numbers are even a little bit too much negative because you're upfront, expense the vans when you bring them into market. Any thoughts about giving investors not expensing upfront? I know it's the easiest to do and such stuff, but any thinking about the break even, or in the future maybe showing a little bit more what is actually the bottom line of this OCS business if you didn't expense the vans upfront?
Yeah. We would be. We will have black numbers end of this year, or we could actually already now have black numbers in terms of our service vans. But since we are expanding the business, and next year we will probably, maybe this year, end of this year, or early next year, go into another Scandinavian market. And of course that requires money. And with such a growth phase, it is hard to create profit. But what we strongly focus on is that every time we launch a new van, the van must be presenting profit as an isolated business unit within a few months. And that number we are focusing on, and we have been successful on that on all our vans actually. So as a aggregated unit of 20 vans, they will be profitable But if we, and which I hope we do, decide to expand into new market, that would of course cost money as well.
So yeah.
So it's hard to give a completely exact answer because it's yes or no. If you look at the actual business on a business unit or the van unit, we are profitable. But as we are expanding, of course, that will require more money. So we will look at that decision end of this year.
Perfect. And no changes in your thoughts of maybe expanding those vans. You are now getting to really a volume where investors could get a little bit more insight if you activated the van cost, or you still think it's the best way and the most proper way to not to expense them up front.
Yeah, that's what we have decided to do. Yes.
And then there was a question, and maybe you answered that. Is it still the target to reach SEK 135 million at the end of 2022 on a 12-month basis? I think we are alluding to that you earlier put out those targets, and now you are guiding on the OCS on the revenue sides, but on car sides. So I think you answered it by saying by March you can give more insight to the average selling price of a expected car.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I think you alluded a little bit to it, to Mikkel. Many of the larger brands seem now to actually go into the same model, selling a new car. I think NIO is doing it in Denmark. Polestar is doing it only online sales without any presence. Any thoughts on the competition side here on the online e-sales, and maybe where you distinguish yourself? I guess they have a lot more power behind them when they do that. So any thoughts about that changing in the competition side?
Yeah, well, for new vehicle sales, it's clear that this is a let's say a concept which is taking speed now, and many of the OEMs is selling only online when introducing new models. You see it outside of Denmark that the used business is also going online and is growing quite fast. What you don't see is that you have online providers for used vehicles focusing only on vehicles, which we have chosen to do. And this is basically also because we believe that we can create a unique room for explaining and giving the customer a unique experience by coming to our platform. So in Denmark and also in Norway and Sweden, there is a very high number of green vehicles, and many of the customers coming into this segment is still first-time buyers. So we believe it's quite natural that we can come in and really explain them what is the right choice for based on their needs, and how can we put this up. And this will be part of the platform. So we're not only selling a vehicle, we are also giving them all the informations based on their need, and trying to be transparent. How is the TCO versus the current petrol car they're running today? Which charging infrastructure should they choose? How can they expect the real range to be, etc., etc. So really be transparent and offer them the solution they are having today. And of course, when the industry is seeing that the sale is going online, they will follow, and we hope they will, because then we are pushing for the speed to go online. But we in Omnicar still believe that we will have a unique proposition by only focusing on being online. We don't have two channels where we will focusing also on the customer coming into our dealership Sunday and seeing it in the traditional way. We can pure focusing on creating a unique experience coming to our online portal.
And I don't know whether you open a platform. It could actually, as an online platform, that's actually, globally, but let's stay in the Nordic. But are you focused on the Denmark until you also have an OCS business, a car service business to support your strengths? Or could you actually think about it's where do you start selling the cars? You expect to be a Danish platform, or do you actually start from a Nordic perspective, or is that not possible without the car service platform also being expanded to the other Nordic regions?
We are starting in Denmark, but we're having a mindset that this should be a concept which we can roll out also in other countries, and Scandinavian is the obvious choice. Yeah.
And actually, there's a question out here, and I think maybe there's both the OCS business, the car service business, and the new online auctions business. Which countries do you expect to expand into as the next? I guess you could go down to Germany also with your base work, but is it Scandinavia that is your focus for the next expansion abroad?
Yes, it is.
And I guess we will not get out of you where the next one comes. And there's a little bit of a question also here, a lot of when it's online and a platform, then you can actually try and test traction in somehow, an early start, a test phase or something like that. Have you done something to try and verify this online car sales business in the market in some kind of a testing, or trying to get some grip of the traction you could get from the start?
I mean, we have been looking very thoroughly in other countries. We have looked into US with Carvana. We have looked into UK with Cazoo. We have looked into Auto 1. So we have tried to see what have they done great and what do we see that they could improve. And then we have sort of created our own best practice case out of that. But online car sales is here to stay, like any other kind of industry. It's going online, and I think a lot of us knows that when we are on look for a new car, the whole journey starts online, and it will also end online. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. Cazoo, they managed to sell 25,000 cars within the first year they launched their portal. So of course this will also be an area that will fast track here in Denmark.
So it's about winning the market, if I should understand you more than whether
it's about winning the market, and it's about understanding the market, and it's about understanding the consumer and the concerns they would have when they have to purchase a car online. And this is where we accelerate. This is where we actually have our strength, is that our focus is on the consumer and how they interact with this kind of services. And I think this is what have brought us so successful into 2022 with our service business, and this is also what will bring us successfully going forward with our car sales business.
And just as an add-on, we have seen, and there have been shown some analysis that a normal customer is using 12 hours on the internet when searching for the right car, buying a petrol vehicle. When they are looking into buying a green vehicle, they're using between 18 and 20 hours only on the internet before going down in the dealership and buying the actual car. So of course we need to be there when they are searching for all the information, but also doing the final step, putting the vehicle in the basket. We need to be there having a call center they can call from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. so they actually can move the last step, which they cannot do today, after they have got the confirmation that this is the right choice for them. Yeah.
And there was something I was thinking on when I looked at one of your slides, is about 80% bundling, and a lot of bundling, and I would always question, a business model selling cars, which margin can you get out of it, price competition? But is the answer here that the actual car sales and the margins on that might not be the most important for you? Some thoughts around that, thinking about it, why maybe online you can bundle a lot more stuff, and thereby you don't need to focus so much on the actual profit on that car you are selling. Some thoughts about how you're thinking about this one?
I mean, in the traditional car sales industry, it's quite normal that the dealership is offering you a finance when purchasing a a new used vehicle. But it all comes down to the sales guy being in the showroom Sunday morning. We can very easily make sure that they are presented for all the add-ons when putting their vehicle in the basket. So we can offer them the finance, the insurance, the charging infrastructure in a whole different way, and by that having a better penetration on the add-ons, but also putting many more add-ons into the funnel.
And the reason why I'm asking, because in a new world, sometimes when their business model, when you sell hardware, you are actually not earning any money on the hardware, you're losing. I'm not sure you maybe don't need to go there, but it is actually just to get the customer in and selling the other stuff. Is that a little bit of the thinking here, or how should I understand it? Because now you will be in a very competitive market. I know you were also in the OCS business, but is that maybe how we should think a little bit about it? And the best target is maybe not the profit on the car, but how able you are to bundle and how much bundling you can put on the cars.
Exactly. This will be a big contributor to our margin, the bundle, and especially now when we see the whole industry is how it is, where of course there is a need in general for vehicles. Then the better you can do on bundle, this better. Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of a question, and then I will leave you. I've already used a lot of your time. Is it first-time buyers that will more buy on the online and thereby actually more chance of bundling those stuff? You know, when I change my car, I sometimes have an insurance, right? Because it just changes the insurance. But so thinking about it, I guess if you're a first-time buyer, you want more security. So do we have any data on who is actually using this online? Is it young people who are the first-time buyers and thereby larger chance, or is it actually abroad where it's also car deeps as a people who already owns a car? Do we have any data on that? I know I'm a little bit curious, but just to see if you have any insights on that.
Yeah, we have actually seen also from outside of Denmark that the range of people interested in buying online is starting from 20s up to all the way up. But what we also can see is that they are choosing different bundles along the way. So younger people is more often choosing the financing, where the older segment is choosing maybe the charging infrastructure.
But I also think it's important to stress that our focus will be green cars, and a lot of those who buy green cars are first-time buyers. So for sure they will need some kind of charging infrastructure. Otherwise, they will not be able to drive it. And we offer that charging infrastructure. So by that, we are already bundling.
Perfect. I think there's no more questions. Thank you both to you, Claus and Mikkel, for taking us through the presentation, and thank you for a lot of good questions by the audience. Have a nice day.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.